40% of kids saying they hate school. We have to find a way in education to bring those kids to school. We got to figure out a way to make them enjoy it, at least just for a little bit.
What we're trying to do is teach kids how to learn.
Some kids have never had success in school. You put them in front of a video game, they find success. Now I have a voice. Now people are listening to me.
I think people think we're teaching video games.
Right.
And that is absolutely not what we're doing.
You can bring this into a building with your teachers, and it's innovative to where the students are going to be a part of something that is just bigger than them.
Through gaming concepts, I really feel like I have even a stronger connection with students than I've had in the past 10 years of teaching.
All right, welcome to the Gaming Concepts podcast. I am one of the hosts, Dr. Kristen Craft, and joining me today are my Gaming Concepts co-host, my ride or dies, my special people that I get to work with every single day, Dr. Michael Russell and Trevor Goertzen. How are you guys today?
I'm waving and you can't see that.
I can't. You are waving. That doesn't work so well for a podcast.
Hello, audience out there. I'm waving.
That might be the best start to the podcast we've had yet, Mike. So well done. Well done.
That only works on calls, Mike.
Oh, when there's actual people watching. Okay.
People watching. We're
now
watching.
I understand.
I'm watching. I'm watching both of you, and you guys are doing fantastic. You're doing fantastic. So,
so how was everybody's week this week? Tell me what's going on in the world of gaming concepts, or even personally, whatever.
I'll start because I'm pretty excited about the number of schools that I've been able to work with this week to get gaming concepts. The best part for me, and I'm not a former educator. I'm still an educator. As an educator and former principal, is getting to see and work with kids. And this week, multiple of the schools I've worked with have had their kids leading the conversations. And that has been absolutely awesome. Even had one in West Virginia where I was in the actual classroom with the kids. And so I was getting to talk to multiple students in the class, and they were so excited to be bringing gaming to their school. You could just see the joy on the kids' faces because they were finally getting what they wanted to do. They were getting to have something that was relevant to them, exciting to them, and just part of their daily lives. And the teacher and the principal are in the room too, and they could see the joy on the students' faces as they were getting to talk about bringing esports to their school. So just I love when as adults we listen to our kids. It's kind of like the thing I've heard before, no decision about us without us, and really trying to empower our students to take leadership roles. And when schools do, it's incredible. So that's the highlight of my week, has been talking to schools and the kids leading that conversation.
That's awesome.
That's a good highlight.
Yep, that's what we're here to do. So, man, it's been a busy week talking, having some conversations with a lot of businesses and a lot of more schools. I got to hop on a few calls with some schools as well, which was nice. I always like to do that. And same passion that Trevor shared, just watching people get it and watch the light bulb go off. And, we've had some great conversations this week about, potential partnerships and things like that. So it's been pretty exciting. We've been writing in the book. We've helped some co-writers get some things going. So it's always fun to kind of educate them on the process and, watch them learn how to process how we do things, because we're still teaching, now we're just teaching adults. So it's kind of fun to see them grasp how, I think a lot of people think of what we do. The people who aren't familiar with the industry and writing curriculum think it's easy, everybody can do it. And there really is a process to it. And you got to make sure and you do it with efficacy and follow all the standards and everything. And we really put a lot of work into figuring that out and making it as easy to use for teachers and administrators as possible. So Trevor has a question. Man,
I have a question.
Love it.
I want to make this seriously. I want to make this a separate podcast sometimes, Mike. I just want to know how you guys go about writing curriculum. Like I want to dive in. I'm not worried about gaming concepts, which that's fine. But in general, how do you and Christy go about just your process of that? The organization, the I don't know, the maps you guys build, the timelines, the storyboards. Like, I'm just curious how that whole process works, because as you're saying that, like, how many times have we all had ideas and we're like, hey, I should talk about that, or I should develop that. Like, how did you, and I even want to go back to the beginning, and maybe this isn't the time to talk about it. Like, when you first thought, I'm going to create a gaming concepts class, like, I actually want to hear your step by step, like, I'm going to take games and incorporate in my class, but there's more to it than just, I don't know. I want to know, I want to like get into the brain of Mike Russell on how you created it. Like, how did you actually build gaming concepts from more of like a process standpoint than actual content standpoint? So,
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah,
maybe that's another
maybe
time.
that'll be a good topic for, I think, another podcast. I
Yep.
mean,
Yeah, I kind of think it sounds
yeah.
really boring. No, I'm kidding.
Well,
Let's get Christy
had
on.
it
We'll
been
get
up to
Christy
Mike
on.
Russell initially, it would have been, what's a
That's what I was
standard
gonna
and why
say,
do we
yeah.
need those things?
Like,
'Cause we're
Mike
just
is
gonna
not
do
the,
this. Yeah.
Mike's the gamer, not the curriculum lover.
I'm like, what do you mean it has to do this thing that says that kids have to learn something? I don't get
Yeah.
that.
That's why you and Christy are such a good marriage, though. And how, I mean, you just created something so special with you being the expert gamer and her really being an expert curriculum writer. And the two of you together just have this massive magic and brain power behind it. So I think that would be a great podcast too.
We've definitely learned a lot from each other. I mean, as far as, and so I'm a lot more helpful now with curriculum writing than I used to be. I'll say that.
I bet.
And she understands gaming a lot more. So yes, it does work out nicely. So we continue to learn from each other. But
I love it. Love it.
Yes.
Well, my week has been super busy, and I think what I'm most excited for after this week is the weekend, because I have been, booked solid. You've seen my calendars, guys, and it has been crazy busy, but I can't tell you how much I love every single phone call I have. And the fact that when I get off a call, I have teachers or coaches who are just so grateful for all the things that we have to offer. And just, I feel like I take a lot of stress off of teachers and educators or coaches because they just don't have time to do some things. And I feel like if when we talk to people, time is so precious. And when they know that there's been already blood, sweat, tears, and time spent into especially gaming concepts, and then all of that on our platform with Game Plan, it's just a stress reliever for them. And I love that we get to do that for teachers because it is such a stressful job. But I know I'm ready for the weekend. I'm wearing my Chiefs today because I am a Chiefs fan, and it is Red Friday. Mike is shaking his head because I guess apparently he doesn't like the Chiefs.
Mike's a Cowboys fan.
I am a Cowboys fan. Yes.
Mike, why?
Well, there's a lot of baggage in that question, Kristen, but to be the most direct answer is my dad's a Chiefs fan and I can't like anything he does.
Oh, I get it. I get it. I can't
I'm the rebel. I'm definitely the rebel in our family. I do not toe the line.
Yeah.
So I had to be a Cowboys fan.
Well, well played, because that's a good, other than being a Raiders fan.
That's what I was going to say. I said, at least you're not a Raiders fan.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I mean, in the 80s, I was kind of a Troy Aikman fan, so I followed him, and then they got Emmett, in 88. And so
and those guys are legit. Like, those are some good years.
And then, and I was in high school from 91 to 94. We won the Super Bowl 3 years that I was in high school. So, I mean, it was, it was a good time for Mike Russell. Yep. Not a good time now, and it hasn't been since then as far as football goes. But
I love how when we talk about, professional sports or things like that, we always say we won. Think as if I'm on the team. I say it too. I'm like, we won the Super Bowl. Yeah, we have Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, who? No, they do.
Well, my wife reminds me that
we own it so much.
Yes. Yep. She's like, do you really think those 18, 19, and 20-year-olds up in Lincoln, Nebraska are worried about what you want and think about? I'm like, not really.
No.
Or my superstitions are going to impact the game.
Sometimes it does.
The fact that I'm wearing the same underwear for the 4th Saturday in a row, do you think that really makes a difference for the football team?
Yes.
I like to think so.
It definitely does. I think it definitely does.
Mm-hmm.
Man, here's what I love about this podcast and about us is not only do we all have passions, we all have passions about educating people and educating adults, as well as just people that want to know how to help kids. And as you talk about, Mike, your passion for gaming and how your passion is becoming curriculum, and Kristen, the opportunities you have each and every day and week to educate people on esports and gaming concepts. That's what we're trying to do right here with our podcast, is educate people, show them the great things that are going on for us each week, as well as how they can use gaming concepts, how they can use esports to benefit kids, because that's truly what it's all about. So whether it's we're talking about incorporating into schools, we're talking about our own experiences with it. That's what we're here to do, is help people learn how to use this as a scholastic option for kids.
Yeah. It's a great recap.
I agree.
Well, hey, let's get to talking about our guest. Like
Yes.
last week we had Barry on. Barry DeSane.
Okay.
He was so amazing. I love Barry. He is so passionate about this, and he's been fighting the good fight for scholastic gaming and esports for many years now, and we so appreciate him for his time on the podcast and his support out there in New York, helping us get into schools and bring this to all the kids. So my guest, surprise guest. I'm pretty excited about this one. So, I'm excited about all of them, but let's be honest. But so let's do a couple fun facts and see if we can guess who it is.
Okay.
This person plays in a bluegrass band.
A bluegrass band?
Huh. Okay. Okay.
I got nothing already.
Okay.
So I think if I know any musicians.
This person was a former student of mine and Christy.
Whoa.
Ooh, a former student.
Kristen, you got any ideas there?
Maybe.
Okay. Because you talk about a lot of students, so I can't narrow it down, really.
Yeah, exactly. This person is in education now, but has not always been in education.
High school, elementary, middle? None of the above? College?
District level.
District level. Is it the superintendent? Is superintendent from very small town?
that kind of narrows.
Find out real quick. This person will be on very soon.
There's a lot of small town superintendents in Kansas.
Yeah. Well, there's one particular one that Kristen's talking about that I actually went to school with.
Yes.
Oh,
so yeah, she her name's Kylie McDonald.
Yeah,
but that's not who it is, though. That's not who it is. But
Mike, I was really hoping we were talking to Kylie McDonald, but okay, I'll be excited about the other person.
That's a good idea. Maybe we'll get her on.
I'm stumped. I don't know who is it.
I got nothing.
I sent this. There we go.
Okay. This is kind of like one of those celebrities that I've looking forward to meet for a while.
Clint
Dayhuff, my man.
Hey,
you?
I'm great. How y'all doing?
Doing
Good.
Good.
Oh my goodness. So Clint, wait a second. Clint was one of your students?
He took our college class from us.
That's right.
There you go. I was thinking at Complete. Like he was at Complete.
That was a good trick. That was a good trick. So.
That was a good trick.
Yes.
That's the one that stumped us, Mike.
Yep,
it did.
Yep. So, Clint, do you know Trevor? I don't know if you've ever met Trevor.
Looks familiar.
Yeah.
I think you were at USA with back in June.
Yeah.
That's right.
So I briefly met you then. But I wasn't even official Jenny at that time.
No, you weren't.
I was still a middle school principal.
You were still a principal.
That's right. Thanks for having me, y'all.
Yeah.
Oh, this is great. This is I'm excited. We got Clint Dayhuff today. It's always fun to talk to Clint.
Clint's joining us from his office, air quote office, the gaming office that he has set up. It's an amazing place to hang out all day. So,
I love it.
Not that he hangs out there all day. He can tell us a little bit more about what you do. But,
Mike, tell us why you picked Clint.
I picked
Ooh.
Clint because he has really been on this ride almost from the beginning with us. I mean, we really got it started at Complete, and then pretty much right after that, Rob Dixon, who's the CTO in Wichita, brought all these teachers, and Clint was kind of the administrator that was going to oversee this program, and so he came to us to. And we basically went through the learning process together. They were our first people that we ever really taught outside of our little group to do gaming concepts and how it worked and the benefits of it and everything. So that's just happenstance. And Clint's a great person, and he's a huge advocate for all the esports stuff. So
Absolutely.
That's where I learned everything about this.
It's how you know everything, right? Hey, Clint. So for the listeners that don't know who you are, can you tell a little bit about what you do and just share a little intro with us?
For sure. Well, hello everyone. I'm Clint Dayhuff. I am the head of esports for Wichita Public Schools. So what I do is, we offer the gaming concepts class now at every high school here in our district, and we're up to 12 of our middle schools. And, I have a goal to get that in all of our middle schools by next year. We've built arenas, we've built gaming labs in each of our 27 high school and middle schools. And what I'm really trying to do is grow this industry and give kids as many opportunities as we possibly can. And I think esports is just a great place for a huge amount of our kids, especially a ton of kids who have never been on a team before. And so I am a gamer. I'm not like a huge gamer. I'm a FIFA player. I play some Rocket League, and lately I've been playing, hard to admit, but I've been playing a ton of Fortnite with my 7-year-old, and I got first for the first time ever last night, so I was pumped about that.
For the first time ever with your 7-year-old, I love that.
But I'm also a guitar player, singer by trade, and so I do a ton of that as well. But I love esports. I love the industry. My main passion has always been like fun in the classroom, and so what a great way to help that goal of mine to bring more fun to kids and make kids want to be at school more. And so that's what I do. I'm working on another school today. Actually, we're going to add another school to try to bring some help in a behavior way and see how that goes with some gaming. So
Nice.
That's me. That's what I do.
Awesome. I've wanted to meet you too, because we use a lot of your quotes in our presentations.
All
And
right.
so I see a lot of that Clint Dayhuff, and so it's good for our audience to know this is the man that information comes from. So it is real. It's not made up. He has experienced this for himself. And Clint, I'm looking forward to diving in and hearing some of the stories of how you've seen gaming concepts and you've seen the esports world support kids. And you just mentioned that you were planning to use this to help a school in a behavioral way. And that'll be really interesting, whether we can get into that now or after you go in and do it. But I mean, that's something that when Kristen and I talk to schools, that's part of what they're looking for, is that relevance piece for kids, that they think, and we all think it's going to work, but you have the background and you've seen it done. You've seen this applied to schools, and you're bought in and sold with it. So excited to hear your stories and excited to hear the work. Mike did say you're going to play a bluegrass song for us later, and you're going to sing for us. So I'm also excited for that.
We're excited.
Darn it, I forgot my guitar.
Hey, it's time for a shameless plug, Clint. What's the name of your band? You may as well get it in here.
Oh yeah, shameless.
Huffy and the Night Train.
Ooh, great name. Hey, I have a fun fact about Clint Dayhuff.
Uh-oh.
You ready about my fun fact? So when I first met you and had to get your contact information and I put you in my phone, I obviously have fat fingers and nothing ever types correctly now. You are in my phone as Clint Dayhug.
Oh, that's perfect.
So Clint Dayhug.
I like that. 3 hugs for everyone.
That's right. And I just don't change it. It's just your Clint Dayhug.
I love that. I love that.
Now I have to change it in my phone.
So we're all going to change it to Clint Dayhuff.
There's your new gamer tag.
Yep. there you go.
Dayhuff gamer.
Yep.
Here it goes.
Love it. Love
I
it.
love that.
Awesome.
Well, this is all fun. So I can tell you, I've been married over 10 years, and my wife's still in my phone as Annie Winfield, where I met her in Winfield.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Winfield. I got some friends that grew up in Winfield.
Yeah, it's a great place.
I've never been there, but I liked my friend, so I'm assuming Winfield's great. So yeah.
Yep, it is.
My cousin grew up in Oxford, so not too
There
far
you
down
go.
the road from Winfield. So anyway, that's a whole
All
nother
right. Small town Kansas. Yep.
Yep, you know it. Yep. The wheat capital of the world, and my cousin has celiac. He cannot eat gluten.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Anyway,
unfortunate.
anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Back to East
Yeah.
Coast gaming
Okay.
concept.
Sorry, Clint, I'm bad about this. I get derailed all
too.
the time. I'm so sorry. So I don't know. Do you have well, can you kind of tell us about your journey into education? Because you kind of went a different route. You didn't start off like in the education field. You kind of worked your way there. So curious to see how that kind of evolved, and then how that may have changed, your opinion on education or how you have approached education. It seems like you like fun, but did that real world experience help apply? Did that apply to your classroom and apply to what you're doing now? So
Great question, because it's a strange route that got me here. I thought, I'm a huge into basketball. I play constantly, and, I always thought I'm going to coach and I'm going to teach PE, and that was just what I was going to do. And so I went to K-State, started working on my teaching license and degree. This is young, 18, 19 years old. I got in the classroom for some of the original classes, and I thought, maybe this isn't what I want to do. So I went and I got my MBA. So I finished up like all my education classes. Those transferred into a social sciences degree at K-State. Thought, what am I going to do with this degree? I at least got that degree, but I kept going and did my MBA, and did that in conjunction with random but airplane insurance. So I love airplanes. Eventually I'm going to get my pilot's license. I've worked on it quite a bit already, but so then I got into a management role at an aircraft insurance company. I wrote business in 48 states, and I did that for 9 years. And then, as I got older, I thought, I really do want to teach. My passion is with helping kids, and I especially like working with kids that really need help, and really, so that's kind of, so I went to Fort Hays and did the transition to teaching program. But the funny part is like I went from being a manager at an insurance company to having my own classroom with 35 kids within like 4 weeks time. Because in that transition to teaching, you just jump right into the classroom and start taking your classes. So long story short, I had no clue what I was doing. I had 35 kids with about 50 computers in my classroom. Half of them worked, half of them didn't. And I just started trying to teach them technology and video production. And I noticed really quickly, back then, Minecraft was just becoming a thing. This is 9-10 years ago. It's got to be, it's 10 years ago. And I thought, let's try this. So I started, because I was really having trouble with like classroom management. I was having a lot of behavior issues, and I didn't know how to really build that relationship with the kid yet to really be able to, help that kid. And so we started using Minecraft in my class, and I started morphing all my assignments into Minecraft world type of assignments. And I noticed like, man, the kids like want to be in my class now, and they're like being nice, and they're communicating with each other, and they're team building, and all these things that we really strive to do. Right. And so the whole time then, my years teaching before I got into this role, I tried to just make it fun, like take my content and put a fun spin on it. So we had all sorts of tournaments, or like I would reward them. I was the guy that would bring wheeling big screens that I could find
Awesome.
anywhere, you know, like I'd bring in my old Nintendo and my Nintendo 64 and write up brackets on the board. And, you know, I just like it just came really natural to me in the classroom. So then, you know, I get in this instructional technology role, and our amazing CIO, Rob Dixon, goes, "Hey, I hear like this Complete Maze is doing some phenomenal things with esports. Let's go check it out." And so we get a meeting with, you know, Dr. Mike and Dr. Christie and go out to Complete Maze, and I'm just blown away, like blown away what's going on. And so then we talk to them and say, "Hey, you guys interested in helping us out?" And boom, Trevor, what's up, my man?
What about Complete really made you go, wow? Because there's a lot they were doing there that was innovative. Like
For sure.
the gaming piece, the behavioral piece, the curriculum piece. Like, what about it first made you go, oh man, this is something? Because Maze is different than a traditional public school. It's a public school, but it's different. So what about it made you go, dude, we can do this?
Well, the thing that jumped out at me most was like, number one, you had to have the right individual in there. Like I could tell within being in the room for 2 minutes that like these kids looked at Dr. Mike like, what, you know, like, oh my God, like we love this guy.
The light that came
There
in.
was like, and it was just such a calm atmosphere. Like, and you're talking about kids. I mean, I don't know all the specific, but kids that haven't done traditionally well in a regular high school, and all of a sudden they're thriving over here. So to me, regardless whether it was gaming or whatever it was, if we could get those kids and we could get them how they were doing in Dr. Mike's class, then we're winning. And so I thought, man, there is something to this gaming thing. And then he let me come in and watch some of the competition, and that's when it was over. Like I was like, okay, we have to do this. They're doing all the stuff we want. You know, they're thinking on their toes. They're making quick decisions. They're coming up with their own way to communicate with each other, and you know, all at the same time, they're learning all the stuff that Dr. Mike wants them to learn. So they're not only are they learning the standards, they're having fun, and now all of a sudden they love school, which like isn't that what we're going for? You know?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, you made me think of, I was on Facebook last night, and I had been posting about some esports stuff, and somebody that doesn't know much about esports had responded on my Facebook and essentially said, well, what is esports? So I shared a couple videos, and then the response was, yikes. So then I said, what do you mean by yikes? And she said, well, that first video made me cringe, that we're celebrating, you know, kids playing games 8 to 9 hours a day and winning millions of dollars. And I said, I responded back, and then she said, it just seems like we've lost the art of connection. So if you were going to respond to that, and I always welcome that, because that's pretty much what we do all day, is talk to people and try to educate people, because usually the misconceptions are so real. But if that was somebody directing that towards you, how would you respond to it being cringy with millions of dollars for students, or losing the art of connection?
Yeah, I would first invite them to please come in to any one of our 27 labs. I'd invite them to come to one of our tournaments and then say, can you still really say this? Because you obviously don't get it. Because what I see every day in these classrooms is real connection. And so I would build on that, but I would invite that person in, which I do all the time. If, you know, I've learned in life, it doesn't matter what you do, you're going to have some naysayers. And, and I welcome that, because that's, there's two sides to every story, and I do welcome that. And that makes us, you know, learn. I can learn something from that person. Why do you think that? But I see connection with colleges. I see connection with peers. We've done the study that we were involved in. You talk about connection. What did we see? We saw, you know, kids struggling, kids needing somewhere to be or a place to fit in, and all of a sudden this is it. And so we have, you know, national survey data where we can prove that point is wrong, number one. but the connection with colleges too. Like I have kids in college right now that would never be in college without esports, And I would also say 8 to 9 hours of, like, we're not pushing for a kid to sit at a screen for 8 to 9 hours. We're pushing for a kid to, same in the colleges, like college esports player as a trainer. College esports kid is on a diet, that not a diet, but on a eating plan, and so to bring that, it almost, I don't want to let it, make me mad that somebody says that, but it's the totally opposite in the real world. And
Yeah.
not only that, how many kids are talking to each other that never would have before?
Yes, yes. And I think connection, it really saved my son during the pandemic, and because he was actually, purposeful play is so different from screen time. There's a lot of connecting and talking. And I think when you talked about the college sports and at the college level, something that I said, the kids that are playing 8 to 9 hours a day, or the professionals or doing things like that, that's no different than an athlete or an actor or anybody in the professional world that are, kids will drop out of school. Who's the racer from Emporia, Kansas? I can't think of his name.
Clint Boyer?
Yeah.
Clint
So
Boyer.
Clint Boyer, he left school to go race. There's gymnasts leave to go train. That's very
And we celebrate
rare.
them. We celebrate them.
We do.
If you saw a post about a kid playing basketball for 8 hours and training, you'd be like, well
Good for
done.
you. Well
You're
done.
committed to it.
Correct. It's very interesting how, but like Christy always says, the other author, is it hasn't been normalized. It's not normalized.
Yep.
Or somebody else said that and she coins it, like I say it a lot too, but we just have not normalized it in education. And that's why it's seen as so foreign to people. But that's exactly what a lot of people are doing. My daughter was in the dance studio 8 hours a day. No one said a word.
Yep.
Well, I think
it's like
that. Go ahead, Trevor.
Mike. No. Well, I was just say one of my first days working at Generation Esports, we went and watched a professional Rocket League match at a restaurant, and there's people whooping and cheering and wearing jerseys, and I called my parents on the way home because it's my first day of the new job, but that's what you do, is you call your mom, and her first comment was, "It just makes me so sad that people are watching sports like that, or watching esports, and they're not watching regular sports." I'm like, Mom, like, it was no different than if you had walked in and watched someone watching a Chiefs football game. Like, they're celebrating the exact same way. Why is it any different? You're still looking at a screen, cheering on a team. It's just that we're just not used to it yet. And she's like, well, I guess when you put it that way, that's true. I'm just not used to it yet. And so we'll get there. It's coming. I know. Well, now my parents are looking to try to turn their old high school into a massive, like, esports arena in Gridley, Kansas. So we'll see.
That's awesome.
But it's education.
Yeah. I mean, that lady with the issue with connection. I mean, this is how kids communicate. This is what they've grown up with their whole life. They've been in front of a device, or they've talked over the internet, or they don't communicate like we used to communicate. And I'm sure I'm prejudging your person because I don't know this person on Facebook, but I'm going to assume they're not 22.
Right. And I think they were not. She's like, I don't want to double down. Like, she's like, I don't know what I don't know. So I appreciated her comments.
Good.
And then I invited her to a conversation. She's like, I actually would like to have a conversation. So, I always welcome that. I want people to challenge it, because that's part of our role, I think, is to educate. That's why we have this podcast.
Right. Exactly.
Yep. Well, and one thing I wanted to add is, like, with the whole connection piece and the whole 8 hours of, one thing we've done to kind of offset that stigma is we put bikes all over in our high schools. And so our kids compete in Zwift is what it's called, but that's a racing game where they're, playing people all over the world to get that, get moving. And we always are recommending get up, move every at least 30, 45 minutes. But I will say there's a reason the military and, higher education is looking at esports kids, because I watched our city league tournament. I mean, I have trouble like focusing and, you know, really competing at a high level for more than a few hours. We ask our athletes in those tournaments, like, to win the championship, you're literally functioning at an extremely high level for 8 hours. That's not just sitting there looking at a screen. That's thinking, communicating, making decisions, and doing it all really quickly. So to me, that's why all the military is coming into the esports world, not only to look and help recruit more people, but recruit the right kind of people. How do you think they fly drones and, you know, unmanned uh, aircraft and things like that? It's the gamers that are going to be flying that stuff, right? I mean, like, let's not beat around the bush. Those are that's who they're going to be going for.
I still have a shot to
Absolutely.
get into the military, is what you're saying. I might make it in, is what we're talking about.
So
Still
you're
a chance,
saying
Mike.
there's a
There's
chance.
a chance I can get in. So,
Yes.
I think that's a valid point, and I can speak to. I mean, there's been a lot of studies, and we need to do more work on this. But like, my heart rate when I'm playing Overwatch, I guarantee you, is just as high as if I was running the mile.
Yep.
So I don't know if I'm burning the same amount of calories, but my heart's going. So I mean, and it doesn't. I don't know how it translates to weight loss and calorie burn and all that, because we haven't studied it. But it's like, I know I'm sitting. There's a term in gaming called, being sweaty. I'm getting sweaty. That's why I'm getting sweaty, because I'm nervous, and there's a lot going on, and I have to pay attention to a lot of things, and I'm moving around. My feet are kicking. I mean, it's not just me sitting here going, well, they can't see that, but just sitting there staring at my screen and moving my mouse every once in a while, right? That's not what's happening. So
Yeah.
But what I do love, Clint, that you talked about is you are helping teach balance for the kids. You're teaching them that this can't be the all thing everything, and so we're going to educate them. We're going to keep them involved in physical activity, and that's the thing that, again, people don't see unless they get to talk to you. And you even said, like, come check us out, come see our schools, walk through. And man, that's our challenge with all things education right now is quit hearing what you're hearing on TV and social media and actually walk into a school and see what's going on.
Yeah.
Yep.
For
That's
sure.
a great point, because social media has its benefits, but it can be so toxic because, there's no real, you can type whatever you want. And so it's real easy to jump on and be negative about something you don't know anything about. And in a public setting, somebody's going to check those credentials and go, well, that's great, you said that, but that's not valid at all,
Yeah.
So
I'm curious though, Clint, what are some of the obstacles you've run into getting not only gaming concepts, but just your esports ecosphere built in Wichita? I mean, most people would not look and hear Wichita, Kansas, Wichita Public Schools as like a beacon of the esports community, but the fact that your title is like director of esports, that's huge. I don't know how many of the school districts have that in the country.
Not many.
Not many. Like, what are some of the obstacles you've run into? I mean, I know there's a lot to unpack there, but in general, what have you run into and how have you overcome them?
Well, great question. I mean, we've definitely run into some obstacles. We've done a lot of educating the public because of kind of what we've been talking about. Not everybody gets this. The younger generation gets this. They're used to watching games and that's how they learn how to, do different moves, and it's just part of their generation. But for me, most people I'm dealing with they don't get it, right? They don't understand what we do, all the benefits to this. So I do a ton of educating, and that's been an obstacle. Another obstacle is school filters are really, really good at keeping stuff out, but they're not so good at letting stuff in. So that's been a huge obstacle. Also, the violence in video games. We all on this panel understand that a violent video game does not equate to a violent human. And luckily we have a lot of data to back that up at a national level now, but that's another obstacle. I mean, the first day I released Minecraft, we had people calling us that people are hitting chickens and, stuff like that. So that's something that we've dealt with, and we've had to be very kind of cognizant of what games we should release, and doing that at middle school and high school And then, of course, the financial side of things. I'm lucky. We have a phenomenal management team here in our district that sees the benefit and are making decisions for kids. And so, if you're not making a decision for the kids, we might not be in this position we're at right now. But, how we've kind of overcome that. Number one, I got to shout out to Rob Dixon because he just, that guy is phenomenal in so many ways, but he saw the magic of this before, like, it's so funny. Whenever I call my mom, Trevor, and say, remember those times you told me I was wasting my time with video games? Like, look at me now.
Look at me now.
Yeah, but no, I mean, those are some of the hurdles and the other hurdles is like, we're one of the very few districts out there that pay coaches. So we pay our high school coaches. So we've battled to get them more because they're spending just as much time as any other coach. And so that's a big passion of mine is like, if you want this to grow, you got to have you got to be willing to pay your coaches.
It's
money where your mouth is.
It's a lot of time.
It is. And if you're going to spend time after school, teachers have been asked to volunteer their time for way too long, in my opinion.
Yes.
So we're still working on getting the middle schools because I want that to grow in our district, and I want our middle school kids to be competing as opposed to just, I mean, I still get the benefits with them just kind of playing in a club setting and in the class, but like, I really think there's something special to that competitive side of things.
Yes.
So those are some of the obstacles we've overcome. And then construction, like, you need to hardwire your machines. If you really want to game at a high level, you need to have good machines. So like, how do you support those? I mean, how do you continue and sustain as your machines get old? And, those are just some of the fun battles.
Is that why I'm not very good? Is because my machine's not hardwired? Is that my core issue?
We'll blame it on that.
It's probably the lag, Trevor. Yeah, it's definitely the lag.
Definitely
it's holding you back. Yeah, for sure.
All right.
Yeah. So
I finally have my reason.
Let's do one more question, and then we'll move on to Kristen has a fun game that we always do on the show.
Oh, it's fun. Yes.
So what? Look at down the road and say 5 or 10 years. What does all this look like? Where are we going to be? You've pretty much been on the ride for 5 years now. I mean, let's call it 5 years. So where it's come from in 5 years. In the next 5 to 10 years, where are we at?
Well, that's a great question. What I see is continued growth at a exponential growth is what I see. I mean, I see more partnerships with with Wichita, the city. I see more partnerships with universities. We're seeing more and more universities come on board, and I see a link between and I ask myself that all the time, how do we link more with the colleges and become more together? I see more tournaments where you have not just the competitive side, but the fun side. So I see a lot more of that happening. I see bigger arenas and the one thing in esports, in general is like, how do we bring more people to watch this? The kids get it and they're there, but like, at what point do more people start coming and attending this, and how do we impact that? So I see selling out. I went to the Century 2 event. You were there, Dr. Mike, and I'm just blown away by the attendance at things like that. But I still see a big potential for growth.
I'm blown away at the attendance at those things now compared to what they were 5 years ago, because that thing 5 years ago, there was probably 100 people there total, including the players, and now there's thousands. I mean, teams from all over the Midwest and on the East Coast, and spectators and everything. So in 5 years, we've really covered a large gap. And so, yeah, I completely agree with you. That exponential growth, I think we're on that path to get this to, a lot of schools and a lot of kids and give them that opportunity. So I
see it more in the private sector too. Like, I foresee more of like fun type of gaming and little like gaming spots opening up that are more geared towards like not an arcade but actual, esports type of games.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
there was, as you say that, Clint, a school I'm working with in Ohio right now that the school district is actually contracting with a local land center essentially to host all of their gaming programs because they themselves, the school, don't feel like they can do it. And so they're entrusting. And so it's actually two guys that graduated from that high school, started their own gaming land center. And so now the school district's giving back to them. And so these guys came to us saying, hey, we hear great things about you. We also love your curriculum. And the school is going to use us as their main host site. And so they're excited because they're getting to kind of launch their business, their local business. They're getting to show other high school kids, hey, here's how you can continue to be involved in your community in the gaming industry, and bringing us in on the curriculum side as well as the HSEL gaming side. So it's cool to see that. And as you kind of said that, I'm thinking that's exactly what should happen is schools looking to partner with other local companies, keep feeding right back into the same economic engine for them.
Absolutely.
What a great way to find new employees for those companies too. I mean, that's a grow your own employee thing or opportunity right there. So yeah.
Absolutely. Yep.
All
right. Well, I think we're ready for our fun game.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
Crafted by me.
Crafted by Craft.
Crafted by Craft. So I'm going to have you pick a number between 1 and 10, Clint, and it's just a fun question that we all have to answer.
All right. Number 6.
All right. Number 6. All right. Here we go. And you have to answer first, Clint, because you're the special guest.
Oh, that's really nice, Doc.
Do you have any pet peeves?
Oh boy. Yeah, sure.
Let's hear them.
Well, number 1, cotton balls. I hate cotton balls. Like, so,
Can you give us an origin story, please?
Yes.
I don't know. Like, all my kids make so much fun of me. I just can't. Like, if I touch it just gives me the ugh.
Is it because of Elf when he was eating them all that it made you like?
I was gonna say,
do all that?
The thought of like touching cotton ball I don't know. It just that's my random strange one.
Okay.
Number 2, Bluetooth non-corded controllers. Oh, pet peeve of mine. and also
explain why. Because Trevor looks confused. I gotta say, he's like, I don't understand why.
Like,
so if you host tournaments and you have 70 computers in your arena and you got to try to connect 70 Bluetooth controllers, they're all called the same thing, and then they won't connect and they will, and it's a hassle. So that, and then Dorito fingers on all my gaming keyboards.
That's really good.
You asked me for 1, I gave you 3, but
I like it.
She said pet peeves in your defense, Clint. She said pet peeves. So
yeah, I did. I said, do you have any pet peeves? So you could share more than 1 if you do. Because we're all a little peeved at times, right? So
it happens.
Trevor?
Mine is huge, and this is one that I struggle with to call people out on. But it is not wearing a belt when you have pants with a belt loop.
Ooh.
Even if it's untucked, or you just
doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. All right.
I have gone home from work
to get a belt.
If I have pants that have belt loops and I don't have a belt in it, I will not function that day. I will not function. I will find something. Like, I've found football belts before at school. So like if I've gone to school and I realize, and that rarely happens, but like I'll work out sometimes at the school and I realize I forgot the belt. I've gone and gotten a football belt from the football department. Put belt in. So now all of my bags have a spur belt in them. Not even kidding.
And
awesome. If I see someone wearing pants and they don't have a belt in their belt loops, big problem. Especially if it's tucked in. especially if it's tucked in.
Does this
Come on,
include
man.
does this include women or just
Yes,
men?
yes.
Okay.
Women too.
Ooh.
My wife's not a fan of that. We have these conversations, but
Yeah, I don't
there's
wear a
belt
belt
loops
all the
for a
time.
reason. Gotta have a belt.
That's up there with the cotton balls, Trevor. I like.
I can't wait to show you my unbelted belt loops.
Yes. Next time that I come up there or see you, I'm
No,
just gonna accidentally
No.
not.
like I'll allow students okay, like you don't know any better, but by the time you're in high school, early adult,
You should
put a
know
belt on.
better.
You should know better. Yep.
Oh my gosh.
And
this
if
is
we're really
hysterical.
serious, it needs to match your shoes, or at least be somehow related to your shoes. So
I do agree with that.
don't wear a brown belt with black shoes or a black belt with brown shoes.
100%.
Like,
Yeah.
match it up, bro.
Yeah.
Match it up.
I
Come
like
on,
it.
man. I like
Mike
that.
Russell's like shaking his head and he's like, belts, pants.
I am with Trevor in the fact that if I wear pants, which I'll admit does not happen often.
I mean, we wear jeans. Let's
wear-
let's make sure for the audience we know that
Well, I'm typically
you're
a shorts
not
person.
like Winnie the Pooh in it all the time,
No,
right?
No, I'm typically wearing shorts is the thing. So,
Winnie the Pooh.
but yes, if I do happen to be caught wearing jeans, I will have a belt on. That will happen. It may not match my shoes though. I'm going to say it's
Okay.
probably. I actually have a belt that's you can reverse, so it's black on one side and brown on the other. So,
Well
of course
done.
you do.
But,
of course you do.
Sorry, guys.
Oh no, and it's
Uh-oh.
tucked in.
Ah!
Have your shirt tucked in.
Oh,
now.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
Like I'm driving to Wichita right now.
Got him.
I will bring you a belt, Clint.
Well done, Clint. I love that.
Great.
I'm starting to get sweaty.
Oh, that's funny.
That's
All right, Mike.
Mike,
what is
what's
your
Mike's
pet
here?
peeve?
Okay, I have a couple also. One of my pet peeves is Google. Because I work with someone and I love her dearly, like my sister, who does not believe anything I tell her. So she Googles everything.
She Googles it. I feel like I know who that is.
Yeah, no, she knows, and she'll laugh. She would be laughing right now. She would know this. So
She doesn't believe
no,
you. Okay.
And people, I think it's just become a habit among society that we're like, did that really happen on December 7th, 1941? I'm going to check. Just because you can spout something off out of your head, people are like, no, that can't be true. So that happens. That's one of my, and it's not just Christy. It happens. It's just whenever anybody does it. I
kind of wish more people Googled. I kind of wish more people Googled.
But I don't want them to. I'm fine if you Google, like if you're just in general, like I don't know the answer. But if you ask me for what the answer is, and then you go Google it anyway.
That's the piece.
I have a problem. We have a problem. So,
Mm.
And I've been really good. I don't make a big deal out of it, but it's like,
have you always been right? Are you always right?
Have you always been right?
Kristen, here's the thing. I'm not a very good liar. So yes, if I tell you I don't know, I really don't know.
I like it.
And if I tell you the answer, I at
You know
least
it.
think it's the right answer. I
Yeah.
know it, and I'm pretty sure, it is the right answer. So
See, I really appreciate that, Mike, when people are able to give us information that's correct the first time. I love that.
Yeah.
I love
That's
that.
great. That's
and
great.
if I tell you I don't know, then I really don't know.
You
and
really
then
don't
should
know.
Use Google. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
yeah,
So
that's my big one. So what's yours?
That's
What's
a
yours,
good
Kristen?
one. So it's funny. I'm going to share a couple because when Clint said something about the cotton balls, it made me think of my really big pet peeve, and that is wooden spoons. And those are wrong and should not be a part of society in any capacity, because it is why do we cook with wooden spoons? It's the lick, like malts at at ball games and stuff. They have a wooden spoon. I can't.
Yep.
I can't. And then people just lick it up, and I'm like,
I love the texture.
Oh, it hurts my teeth. My mother cooks with wooden spoons, and she's like, taste it. And I'm like, no, I'll go get a regular spoon. And I can't. It is the most horrifying. They should be outlawed, in my personal opinion.
So I have two comments for that, Kristen. One, you would not have survived for like the first 10,000 years in the world.
Nope.
I'm pretty sure they just stabbed things with sticks and ate it.
Yes.
And two, did you not get paddled with a wooden spoon? Because I got paddled as a kid with a wooden spoon.
No, I did not.
Okay.
I could probably do fine with that, but don't put a wooden spoon anywhere near my mouth. And spoons are for your mouth, and so they should.
Toothpicks. What about toothpicks?
Yeah, no joke.
I have to get the really cool plastic dental,
Oh yeah.
for
the
that.
flosser things. Yeah. I
The
got you.
flosser things, yeah. And then I guess the other one, oh, go ahead.
The best part of a wood toothpick is how it softens in your mouth over time.
Stop it. Would you
And you
stop
get like
it?
cinnamon toothpicks.
Over
Get-
it.
You never had a cinnamon toothpick?
Over it. Stop.
Over it. Do you
Over
ever
it.
get a splinter, Trevor?
Yeah, I mean that's part of the game, though.
No, I'm with Kristen on this, y'all. No,
Yeah, you
I'm not
no.
I'm
Your
not a
neck
big
lights
wooden
get hurt.
spoon guy either.
It's this.
Okay.
It's the year 2000 something. We got to move on. We can't be.
See, now I'm thinking of like Razor Ramon. You guys ever watch Razor Ramon growing up? The old WWF wrestler. Google Razor Ramon. Google Razor Ramon.
Okay. I do want to thank Clint for coming on today. This was really fun to talk to you. And I just think you have so much and so many stories to share. And I just love what you're doing in Wichita schools. And we're so glad to partner with you each day. And you just continue to do amazing things for kids. So thank you for being a part of our show today and everything you do.
Yeah.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you all so much for having me. Thanks for everything you do to, help kids and build this awesome community of esports. So I hope you all have an awesome Friday and weekend, and thanks for having me.
We will. Thank you so
Where
much.
can-
Clint.
Where could people get a hold of you, Clint, if they on social media, if they wanted to reach out?
Yeah, you can get me at Clint Dayhuff on Twitter, or just me on Facebook, Clint Dayhuff. You can find me there, and get in touch with me. I'd love to help. I'm all for helping anyone in this awesome esports community. So let's all keep building and keep making magic for kids.
Perfect. Well, I am Kristen Esports on Twitter and LinkedIn. Trevor, where are you?
Trevor Goertzen on LinkedIn and Goertzen_EDU on the Twitter sphere.
Mike.
And I am at Russ the Teach on Twitter and Michael Russell on LinkedIn.
Awesome. Well, another great podcast, guys. And we'll look forward to another one next week, another Gaming Concepts episode. So thanks so much, everybody. Have a great week.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.